This is Super Game Droid with Google Play Good Stuff. Today we're taking a look at a nifty new overhead action game by the name of Alpha. This bullet hell melee game by developer Konami is a very cool pixel art type game that bears some superficial visual similarities to some roguelites, but is in no way a roguelite itself. It is more of a survival shooter that challenges you with getting through some very difficult stages. This game is quite hard. So without further ado, we're going to take a look at some pre-recorded footage here and see what all this game has to offer. So as you can see, one of the main similarities, some of the people who have seen this on previous platforms, this was previously a Switch game that was ported over to Android, is that it has a lot of similarities to Hyper Light Drifter with the way that the character has its sword melee attack. Personally, I don't really see it all that much. I've seen some people call this game a poor man's Hyper Light Drifter, but in reality, I think it's just sort of like a small-ish shooter pixel art game, which, if you look at it in its own right, can be a lot of fun. I will say again that the game gets quite difficult later on. A lot of that is due to the controls, which was another issue that was cited on a lot of other platforms, but hopefully it doesn't seem to be as much of a problem as it was for me, even though I'm using touchscreen controls on a mobile device. Now, you have two ways of attacking your enemies. You can use your sword slash to melee attack them. You can also use this sword to knock other enemy bullets out of commission, a la Nier Automata or a lot of other games such of that nature. You also have a rotating helper droid that can use a limited amount of bullets to shoot down enemies. Now, this isn't a unlimited attack supply that this drone has. You do have to replenish it or let it recharge on its own, but it is quite useful. Now that's another feature that you just saw me use there, is the bomb feature, which if you get enough of those, they can clear a whole room or deal some heavy damage to some of the tougher enemies. Right now I'm just trying to destroy some of the elements in the room or to collect extra bombs and some health if I can. Now we're starting to get some of the tougher rooms, where some of the more annoying enemies, such as these ones that are spamming bullets at you, you can't melee until you get right up next to them, and of course they're hidden by a maze. Gotta watch out for this guy here. He's a kamikaze bomber. Ah, he got me. And as you can see here, I'm just taking out his bullets while my satellite shoots, and then I get fed up and just take him out melee. Starting to get a little farther here, and we're seeing some of the more difficult enemies, such as these brutes that I'm dealing with at the moment. I tried very hard to get to one of the bosses, but couldn't even do that in my limited time through. I think it's going to take a lot more practice before I can accomplish that. Making liberal use of those bombs there, otherwise my very limited health would be depleted very quickly. Of course, you've got these buzzsaws here. I try to dash through, but unfortunately I get nipped at the end. Or the beginning, as it were. Then you got a lot of rooms like this, which are more environmental puzzles that you have to dash through straight away to sort of find your bearings. Luckily, we'll find a helpful power-up in this chest down here. Later on, of course. We're going to die right now, because that happens in a later run. So we're going to restart here. You can see some of the controls on the screen. The Switch controls have been simplified for use on a mobile device. You just have these 4 simple buttons and a virtual analog pad to get you through. Dealing with these guys again, I do like the enemy designs. They are, as pixel art games go, they're pretty decent. I like the design of the blobs, how they look like regular blobs of force, but then, of course, morph into something with teeth. Of course, the bomber droids get me with a little harder this time around, unfortunately. And I just got lazy there and used the bomb again. Which I should probably use for this room, since that turret there is rather annoying, and I end up biting the dust here, I believe. Yep, that's what got me. Not to worry though, I proceed further on this third run that we're going to take a look at here. Overall presentation's pretty nice. I like the sound. It's all generally inoffensive and fairly atmospheric, appropriate for what the game is trying to convey. You'll see I've had a little bit more practice on this third run here, and I am starting to get the hang of what I need to preserve and which enemies I need to attack first. Having finally figured out those are bomber droids, I realized I need to stay away from them. And it's quite helpful if you use it in the right context. And you'll see I get through this area much better this time around. And again, I have a better idea of what I'm doing. As you can see, this guy's jumping around here, and sort of like a Binding of Isaac boss, you have to make sure that you jump out of the dash out of the way before he stomps on you. Which of course I don't do right there, but it's all good because I get some health. Again, I'm getting more wise to these traps here. I know I need to dash through, not dawdle. And then here I know it's just not even worth it to sacrifice the health, so I just use the bomb straight away on those boomers. We got a bomb there, which is always nice. And again, I'm just no nonsense in here, just charging straight through, which ends up being good because I get my bomb back right after using it. Do a good job of handling the brutes that time around. As you'll see here soon, we're going to start seeing some more advanced enemies. Once again, better job with the traps. And we see what's in the chest. Which turns out to be armor, something we sorely need. Now we're starting to get to some of the later parts. We know just to hang back here and use our shooter. We easily get through this room, but what's really going to mess us up is what's on the other side of that door. Well, on the other side of the next door, I should say. This one is rather pedestrian, as I can just use the shooter to sort of troll my way through. Or a bomb, even if I wanted. Now, I try to use the shooter in this situation, but I realize it's just going to take too long to take out that brute, so we use the bomb. Would like to get that health pickup in there, but there's no getting it with that laser. Now, this is where the game really starts to show its teeth, and keep in mind this is only the first level. There are several more levels to it, so it's going to get much more difficult as it goes. This game was also designed for a controller specifically, first of all, so the touch controllers are going to add another layer of difficulty onto things, but you start to see some of the cooler enemies, like this guy up here in the corner with the giant laser. Which looks very cool. I assume it can only shoot horizontally, much to my own regret. In this moment here, when I see that it can shoot diagonally and take me down. And that ends our run. So, I hope you watched the video. This has been Alpha with Super Game Droid and Google Play Good Stuff. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.